Hi everybody, this is Jen from Cookies, Cupcakes, and Cardio.com. Today I'm going to show you my own take on the very popular Minecraft game. I'm going to be making it into a block cake. It's a Minecraft landscape, so I hope you like this tutorial. It's a long one, so let's get started. To make this cake, we're going to be using two 12 by 18 slab cakes. Now the one here I have on the table is covered in chocolate buttercream. The other one is in the freezer because I want it to be nice and hard before I go to cut it. I'm going to be using chocolate buttercream, some additional, and some green buttercream. Now over here I have an 8-inch pan filled with blue jello. You could also use a 9-inch pan, it's up to you, and I'm just followed the directions on the back of the jello box in order to make the jello. Now down here in front, all of the recipes for these will be in the description box below. These are recipes I've made previously. This is my brownie recipe. The only difference between the two is that this one has some nuts in it to give it a different look, and this is my Oreo marshmallow bar, and this is my Blondie bar without the M&Ms in them. So you can find those recipes below. So I have my slab here that was previously frozen. Now it's still nice and cold, and the reason that it's frozen is it's easier to work with, and it's especially easier to cut a light cake when it is frozen just coming out of the freezer. So if you're using something like a box mix, that's the biggest tip I can give you, is that you keep it cold, nice and frozen before you start slicing. So what I have here is I've spaced out 2 inches, because each of these 2 inches slabs are going to go at the back of the cake where the unmined part of it is. So I'm just going to line up my knife along my guidelines here and then just start to make my slices. So I have my 3 lines of cake here cut out. Now I might need more, I might not. I'm going to start with 3, and it's also going to depend on how high you want to make this back layer. So I've got the first layer on here. I'm going to take some of my chocolate buttercream and just do a thin layer in between these, just like this. I'm just using a regular flat spatula to put the buttercream on. And I'm going to put the next layer on top of that. And then I'm going to repeat the process with the other 2 as well. And then I'm going to cover the entire back here with chocolate buttercream, the front here and the back, and then all over the top as well. So I have the back here built up. Now a reminder that this is the unmined part of the cake. Now the part that is mined is going to be everything forward, and you can pretty much put them on however you want to, but I'm just going to go through and talk you through how I'm going to do it. Now what you might want to do with the brownies is put them upside down. That just gives a nice flat surface for them to be built on, and I'm just going to go all the way across the back here and build a brownie block layer. So I've got my base of brownies here. This is just going to act as an anchor, and if you're worried about the stability of the back wall, you don't need to, because we're going to be building up and it's going to be supported by all the things that we put in front of it. So I'm going to move next to my Oreo marshmallow bars, and I'm going to go 5 across here, so all the way 5 across here, so to about there. And then I'm also going to build up all the way to the top of the wall. I think that will be about 3. So that's pretty good. So I'm going to fill that in now. So I decided to do 2 rows of the 5 here and then only 2 at the top instead of the full 5, just to give it more of a dimension to it. So now I'm going to build across here along the front, and I'm going to do 2 there, and then these ones will go all the way over across here. So I'm going to build this will kind of be like the lower layer and more of a base right here. Continuing on here, I'm going to go 5 across the back. So 5 more across here, and then only 4 more across the front here. So it's just going to be a little bit smaller. Again, that's just going to be playing in on giving them just a different dimension to each of the different layers. And you can see I'm just trying to fit in which fits best and just kind of squeezing them in there. If you're worried about this kind of thing falling apart, you could always use like a toothpick or something. Make sure that everybody knows that you've got toothpicks in there. So you don't get anybody with a little accident in their mouth. So there we go. We're going to go on to the next layer. So we're going to finish off the Oreo marshmallow bar areas now. And I say finish, but once the cake's all together, I'm also going to take a look at it again to make sure that it's aesthetically pleasing. So it may not be the finished, even though I'm trying to have it be the finished part right now. So I'm going to go 4 more across this part here, this next little layer. So 4 here. And then only 2 down in front. And then I want 1 more up here nice and high. So then we can have this part be finished. So in front of the Oreo bars, we're going to put the regular brownies, and I'm going to go 4 across the front here. So 1, 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then I'm going to build up with 3 here, and then I think another one right here on the edge, just like that. So as we keep building, my bottom here is starting to crust. So what I want to do is just put a little dab of icing where I'm going to put my next brownies. So now I'm going up to the front of the cake, and that's going to finish off this side right here. So now I'm moving to my Blondie bars, and these are going to be the sand blocks that you would find in the Minecraft game. So I'm going to put them up here, and I'm just going to fill in the rest of the area. Just across here, and these are going to line the jello, which will be the water. So I'm just going to kind of like leave a little border. That's my idea right here with the sand blocks. So I'm just filling in the rest of the space. So I'm going to finish off the sand blocks on this side. I'm going to put one here, here, and here. And I also don't like this block up here. I think it's too high, so I'm going to move it down to there and just do that with a little dab of buttercream. Move it down like that, and then put these ones onto here in place. So now I'm going to be working with my brownies with the nuts inside. This just gives it a little bit of a different look for a different type of block. So I've got 2 out here on the edge, and I'm going to go all the way to the center to meet up here with the Oreo one. And again, I'm putting the brownies upside down because sometimes when the brownies cook, they just get a little bit soft on the top. So the bottom is just a little bit more of a flat platform for the next layer to fit onto. So I've got my little buttercream dots for my next layer of the brownies with the nuts, and I'm just going to go across in front of this one. So continuing with these ones, I'm going to put a little dot here of my buttercream, and I'm going to leave this empty space right here for that definition and just different height here. I'm going all the way across, and I'm going to put all of the nut ones right across here. Still building up over here, we're going to put 4 more. So there's 1 and then 2, and 2 more here on the edge. Now I'm going to fill in these 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 with these 2. Now if you don't like nuts or you can't have them, you don't have to use the nuts. What I just did is just put the nuts in just because it makes it look a little bit different. But if you don't want to, or you just don't have nuts or whatever, you don't have to put them in if you don't want to. You could just be using solid brownies over here. So we're working on the next layer across here. I'm going to continue with some of the sand blocks. Like I said, again, it's going to contain the water jello blocks. So going across here, 1, 2, 3, 4 more of these ones. And then the rest of them, I'm just switching to regular brownies just because I can. You could also just do like whatever you make. Like if you're doubling the batches, you might have like double brownies, and you might not have enough of the double brownies with the nuts. So just like I said, you can make it yours however you want to. So I'm going to contain the rest of my blocks by putting these 3 brownies up the sides here. So I've got 1, 2, I think there's room for 3. 1, 2, and then 3 up the side. So what I'm trying to do now is mirror this side with what I did on this side with the sand blocks. So I'm just going to fill in these places and with all of these little blocks, just because they're so light that they're definitely going to stand out. So I want them to kind of be, they match and look proper when they're lined up against each other here. So I'm going to put 3 more sand blocks right here at this spot here on the edge of the sand. And then behind the sand here, I'm going to put 3 more brownie ones in the corners just to give that part a little bit of height so it's not hidden behind the sand. So I'm going to put my last 3 blocks up here, just adding some more height over in this corner. And I think now I'm going to move on to the water at the front. So I've sliced up my jello into these little squares that are the same size as the rest of the ones on the cake. And now I'm just going to put them into place and fill up the rest. So my water blocks are in place here, and I've got everything else finished, so I'm ready to move on to piping the grass on top of some of the dirt blocks. Now this is a Wilton 233 tip, commonly known as just a grass tip. So I just squeeze it onto whichever blocks that I want to, squeeze and then pull away to give it the look of a grass. So we're going to just figure out that cover some of these up, and then we will move on to the final step. So on to the finishing step. I just have a little bit of graham cracker crumbs and Oreo crumbs just mixed in here together, just to give the top just a little bit more of a dirty look to it, just to give it, you know, so it kind of stands out a little bit different. So just kind of spoon that on and then brush it right as close to the edges as you can get. Then once I've got that covered all across the top, I'm just going to take my grass tip, and this definitely doesn't like to stick. So you're just kind of going to work it till it sticks like that, and do a couple of those across the top. So there you go, everybody, how to make your very own Minecraft cake. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial today. It takes lots of steps, but like I've said many times throughout the tutorial, you can do it however you want to do it, and you can make it as simple or as fancy as you want to. I got these little characters, and I'll put a link in the description box for you to get them yourself if you're so inclined. So remember to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up if you liked the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time.